If you're somebody who struggles to identify support and resistance points, make sure to stick around for this video because I'm going to show you a super simple way to identify these levels. But real quick, as always, if you guys do find value in this video, consider clicking that like as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. Alrighty, so before we hop into the super simple indicator to identify support and resistance, if you do want to learn how to actually plot support and resistance as well as the multiple ways that I identify support and resistance, make sure to check out my book on Amazon, The New Age of Technical Analysis. This is a 450-page book, which is an A through Z guide on my entire day trading and swing trading strategy, plus much more. So if you guys are interested, check the link down in the description. And yeah, if you get it, I hope you enjoy the book. So out of the many ways that I identify support and resistance, this is one of them because it is super simple to use. So what we're going to be talking about today is going to be the person's pivots, is what this indicator is called. If you're on ThinkorSwim, all you need to do is go right here to your edit studies, type in persons, and it's going to pop up right here, persons pivots. And there's a few other indicators that he has also made. But what you're going to do is you're going to add 4 of these. So all you got to do is click on it, add selected 4 times, and then you're going to get 4 different persons pivots. Now, when you actually set up these persons pivots, I've had people ask me questions about it because it's a little weird at first. But the way that I set mine up is going to be the day, week, month, and quarter. Some people like to use the option expiration. Personally, I like monthly more, but again, you could just play around and see which one you like to use. But these are the 4 that I use. Now, with all 4 of these, what you want to do is you want to color code them and you want to remember the color code. So for me personally, this yellow line right here and the orange lines are my monthly, the black and white are my daily, the purple, red, and then there's also green somewhere down here. That is going to be my weekly, and then the quarterly is all going to be cyan. Now, once you color code all of these different levels, when you go into the settings, you're going to see that we have R3, R2, R1, RR, PP, SS, S1, S2, S3. The R3 all the way to the RR, those are your resistance points. So what you want to do is you want to color code all of these the same. These are going to be resistance. And then where it says PP, that's going to be your person's pivots. Get your mind out of the gutter. But on PP right here, this is going to be your person pivot. So this is going to be the midpoint in between your resistance and your support. So as we can see right here, this white line, we have the middle white line, 2 black lines above, which are resistance, and 2 black lines below, which are support. So the person's pivot is pretty much just the midpoint in between the resistance and the support. So you want to color code that something different. That way you can identify that that is the actual pivot point. And then through SS to S3, you want to color code all of these the same as well, because these are going to be your support points. Now, also when setting this up, what you want to do, where it says show only today, you want to make sure that that says yes. Because if you don't do that and you keep it on no, what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of lines going through your screen like this, and it's going to be a complete disaster to look at. So again, make sure to go show only today, and then yes, and then apply persons levels filter. I also do that. And then there you go. It's a cleaner screen from there. So then also what you want to do is you want to make sure that your R3 and your S3 is showing. Sometimes it doesn't automatically put it on. So you do want to make sure that is there as well. So now that we have gone through all of the settings and everything, what the person's pivots do is they predetermine support and resistance points based off of previous data. So going with the person's pivots right here, so for today, these were actually calculated yesterday as the market closed. So if we put show only today off, you can see that these levels were already given yesterday going into the close, and you can see that it's already trying to calculate it going into tomorrow, but we're not going to know what those levels are until the market closes today for Amazon. So what the person's pivots do is in order to get the midpoint, the person's pivot right here, it takes the low point of the previous day, the high point, and the close, adds all of them together, and then divides it by 3. So if we were to look at the price action from yesterday, we can see that today's person's pivot is trading at, it's around like 98.63. Yesterday's low was 97.29. Yesterday's high was 100.12, and the close was at 98.45. So if we bring up a calculator and we end up adding, 97.29 plus 100.12 plus 98.45. We add all of that together. That's going to equal 295.86. And then you divide it by 3. And sure enough, you have 98.62, which is your pivot point right here. So that is how the person's pivots identify where the actual midpoint is going to be. Now, as far as the resistance points and the support, it does some other calculation. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But again, I do talk about that in my book if you guys are interested in the calculations. So these persons' pivot, support, and resistance, they're all identified just based off of that. So with the weekly, the red and the green lines, those are based off the prior week. So what it does is it takes all the data from Monday to Friday. It calculates the low of the week, the high of the week, and the close of the week, adds it all together, divides it by 3, and that's how we get that weekly pivot that is right there. So this takes a lot of the guessing out of support and resistance because 1, it does it by itself, and 2, it's based off of a mathematical formula. So again, it predetermines these levels way in advance. So if we're looking at Amazon, well, as of the close, the end of the quarter, because this is my quarterly right here and this is my quarterly right here, at the close of the quarter, which was this day right here, it predetermined where Amazon's quarterly support and resistance points would be. Well, at the month, it calculated this at the end of the month. So if we were to just put this on and show only today we put it off, we can see well in advance over here, Amazon, or actually the person's pivots, calculated on July 29th that Amazon could have possible resistance all the way up here towards 148 or 146.4. Well, that was the dead top on Amazon August 16th. So it gave us that support or resistance point well in advance. What about over here? Same exact thing. On September 1st, it gave us the monthly, and sure enough, support. So these persons' pivots, again, they calculated well in advance. I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, well, it did that after the fact. No. At the end of every period, it's going to calculate the next period's support and resistance. That's why I like using this indicator, because it lets us know well in advance of levels that we need to watch. So that's just one example on Amazon. So let's just pull up QQQ, for example. Looking at QQQ, what do we see? Well, it gave us where the monthly support would be. It came right down to this level, bounced once, bounced twice. That was pretty much the low at QQQ before it ended up pushing all the way up here. Now this week, and actually what happened yesterday, was what do we notice? We have our quarterly person's pivot right here, right at that level, and then we had our monthly pivot right here. Well, what happened with QQQ yesterday is it came up to the level and it rejected slightly below it. But then today, what did we bounce right off of on QQQ? We bounced right off of that monthly person's pivot pretty much to a penny, or it looks like it did bounce off right to the penny. So this is why these support and resistance points are very important to pay attention to with the person's pivots, because again, we didn't have to do any guesswork. We didn't have to guess, oh, there was support or resistance here. It just showed us that it's right there. So every single morning, what I do is say I'm watching Tesla, for example, say I'm bullish on Tesla and I'm looking for calls. Well, if I'm going to be trading Tesla today, I want to know about the monthly pivot because Tesla is near it. And then I also want to know about the daily pivot, which was right there. So if we break it down to a smaller time frame, look at what Tesla ultimately ended up rejecting today. It was that daily pivot right there. So if I'm looking at Tesla, I'm like, okay, I think Tesla's got some room to the upside. I'm going to be looking for calls at a break of this bull flag right here. Let's just say that we went long with the breakout of the bull flag. Okay, well, my first price target is going to be the monthly pivot right here. Second price target is going to be the daily pivot right here. Rejected, got close, and then it fell back down. So yeah, that is a super easy way to identify support and resistance points. Again, I talk about how to use this even more in my book, as well as more support and resistance points that you can find to help you with your trading. So again, make sure to check out the book on Amazon. But if you did find value in this video, consider clicking that like button as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. If you guys do want to learn more about trading, make sure to check out this video on over here. But as always, everybody have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.